Welcome to the Gateway Arch National Park in St. Louis, Missouri, which includes the tallest monument in the United States. But there's more here than just an arch. Join us as we explore the underground museum, the historic Old Courthouse, and everything this national park has to offer. We'll even take a unique tram ride all the way to the very top for some crazy views of the city. The Gateway Arch is located on the west bank of the Mississippi River in downtown St. Louis, Missouri, right along the Illinois border. The arch was built in honor of America's westward expansion, when pioneers, settlers, and explorers headed west in the 1800s in search of new opportunities. St. Louis became known as the Gateway to the West, and this monument was designed to reflect just that. Construction started in 1963 and took over 2 years to complete. It stands at 630 feet tall, and it's 630 feet wide between the legs, making it the tallest monument in the United States and the tallest arch in the world. Taller than the Statue of Liberty, Washington Monument, and even the Space Needle in Seattle. It was designed by Finnish-American architect Eero Saarinen and is made entirely of stainless steel. Both sides of the arch were constructed at the same time and then joined at the top. Each leg of the arch is 54 feet wide at the base and tapers down to 17 feet wide at the top. And a layer of concrete goes about halfway up the arch to reinforce it. Today, the Gateway Arch is part of the Gateway Arch National Park, and it's a symbol of innovation, engineering, and a pivotal moment in U.S. history. The Gateway Arch was originally designated as the Jefferson National Expansion Memorial, which is the type of designation many sites with historical significance receive. But in 2018, Congress officially redesignated it as a national park, making it the 60th site in the U.S. to hold the title of national park. Local lawmakers and tourism advocates pushed for the national park designation to help raise the arch's profile and boost visitation. National park status tends to draw more attention, funding, and recognition than a monument or memorial, even though it doesn't quite match what people picture when they think of a park like Yellowstone or Yosemite. The designation allowed the park to complete one of the largest renovation projects in MPS history. The $380 million project added to the paths and trees, raised a parking lot, modernized the underground museum, and most importantly, connected the arch to downtown St. Louis with a massive land bridge. This is the smallest national park in the United States by area, but what it lacks in size, it makes up for in history and incredible views. We are here at the Gateway Arch in St. Louis, and we're about to head up to the top, which is way up here. So you actually take a tram to the top of the Gateway Arch. It's kind of like a mix of an elevator and carousel as well as an escalator, they said. So it's going to be a really interesting ride to the top. I'm a little scared, but also excited at the same time. So come along with us and go check it out. Directly beneath the arch is a massive underground visitor center. It's home to a museum, a theater, gift shop, cafe, and the entrance to the tram ride that takes you to the top. The arch grounds and museum are completely free to visit. So when you come here, we just noticed this. We did not park at Stadium East, but if you park at Stadium East Garage, 200 South Broadway, you can actually get a discount for your parking ticket. So tip, make sure to park at Stadium East Garage. To visit the museum, guests are required to go through an airport-style security screening. Once inside, you'll find that the museum is divided into 6 different galleries, each one telling part of the story of America's westward expansion and St. Louis's role in it. The first section, Colonial St. Louis, explores the city's early days under French and Spanish rule, long before it became part of the United States. You'll learn how Native Americans, African, and European cultures came together through trade and settlement. Then, in Jefferson's vision, the focus shifts to the Louisiana Purchase and President Jefferson's dream of expanding the nation westward. This is where you'll see the connection to Lewis and Clark and the pivotal role that St. Louis played in opening up the frontier. Manifest Destiny digs into the 19th century belief that expansion was America's destiny, but it doesn't shy away from the conflict and consequences, especially for Native American communities. So apparently this is one of the old stagecoaches that used to give tours in Yellowstone. When automobiles started to take over, the touring company actually donated one of their tour coaches from Yellowstone to this museum. So they first donated it to Yellowstone National Park, but then they moved it here. The riverfront era shows what life was like in the booming 1800s St. Louis, with steamboats, trades, and fast-growing economy along the Mississippi River. So a fire broke out and took out this entire area.
418 buildings destroyed.
Yeah. Next is New Frontiers, which tells the story of pioneers, immigrants, and homesteaders who shaped the American West. I love bison. And finally, Building the Gateway Arch walks you through how this incredible monument was designed, engineered, and constructed, complete with models, time-lapse footage, and original construction equipment. This was definitely my favorite part of the museum. So apparently what had happened was that a lot of the businesses and things on the riverfront were starting to move over to the area where the train was. So then the riverside started to get a little bit run down, and so they felt like it wasn't a really great way for people to see the city for the first time, and that's the reason why they built the arch here, is because they wanted, when people first see the city, to see something beautiful. After the museum, we stopped by the gift shop where we picked up our usual national park souvenirs, like a couple of t-shirts, a magnet, and a Christmas ornament for our travel tree. And I got a little arch for my desk. Look how cute that is. And of course, we got our National Parks Passport book stamped. Yeah. You can even get certificates to commemorate your journey to the top. We grabbed our lunch at the Arch Café, which is also located inside the visitor center. We ordered the 2 St. Louis specials from the menu. The St. Louis ribs, which were a half rack of slow-smoked, dry-rubbed pork ribs served with coleslaw, and the toasted ravioli, which is a local favorite. Ours were stuffed with beef and cheese and came with a side of tomato sauce for dipping. There were also a few optional add-on experiences that you can purchase to enhance your visit. You can take the tram to the top of the arch, watch a documentary film that dives into how this incredible monument was built, try a virtual reality experience, or purchase tickets for a scenic riverboat cruise along the Mississippi River. I'll leave a link to their website in the description, which will have all the up-to-date prices for tickets. If you're a little claustrophobic or afraid of heights, there are monitors here where you can see a live view from the top of the arch without having to make the journey up the tram. It shows views from both the east side looking towards Illinois and the west side looking out towards downtown St. Louis. Of course, the highlight of any trip to the Gateway Arch is riding the tram to the top of its 630-foot peak. Tickets are $15 to $19 for adults and $11 to $15 for children ages 3 to 15. But if you do have a National Parks Pass, you can subtract $3 from those amounts. To start, you'll need to reserve timed entry tickets for the tram ride. We definitely recommend booking ahead of time online, especially during peak travel seasons, because spots can sell out quickly. Once you check in at the visitor center, you'll wait in a designated boarding area until it's time for your group to be called. Before boarding, you'll walk through a short pre-board exhibit with fun facts about the arch. You can even submit photos to have them on display here to become a part of the exhibit. Then, just before the ride, you'll watch a brief animated video inspired by the 1960s. Each tram car is a small pod-shaped capsule that seats up to 5 people. If you're a little claustrophobic, it's something to be aware of. It's tight, but the ride is short. There is also a model tram car near the museum's entrance where you can take photos and get a good feel on how small it is. And it's a pretty tight squeeze. As you can probably guess, the trams are not wheelchair accessible, so guests who are unable to travel up to the top can see the views from the top at the live feeds located inside the museum. Oh gosh, here we go. The doors close and the tram begins its journey up the inside of the arch, following the curve using a combination of rotation and elevation. The ride to the top takes about 4 minutes, and yes, you can feel the pod gently rotating as it adjusts to the changing angle of the arch. When you reach the top, 630 feet in the air, you'll step out onto a long, narrow observation deck that spans the very center of the arch. It's lined with a series of narrow 7-inch windows that tilt outward, giving you a panoramic view of both sides.
You want to touch the top of the highest building in the state of Missouri? Go for it.
On a clear day, you can see up to 30 miles in each direction. To the east, you'll see the Mississippi River and Illinois farmland. To the west, you'll see downtown St. Louis, Busch Stadium, and beyond. You'll be allowed 10 minutes at the top, and you'll get a 2-minute warning before you head back down. The ride takes about 3 minutes, and you'll exit through the same visitor center where you started.
That was so cool. I don't know if we'll do it again, but it was really cool. Yeah.
Even though the arch is the main attraction, there's a lot to see around it, and it's all part of the Gateway Arch National Park. The grounds around the arch are beautifully landscaped with wide walking paths, grassy hills, native planting, and reflecting pools. You'll find plenty of spaces to relax, take pictures, or just enjoy the view, especially at sunrise or sunset when the light hits the arch just right. There are also several trails that connect the visitor center to the Mississippi riverfront, where you can stroll along the levee or hop aboard one of the riverboat cruises. There's also a helicopter tour helipad along the waterfront. We actually planned on doing the flight, but unfortunately, they just weren't operating on the day that we visited. Be sure to check out the Flood of 1993 marker, which shows just how high the Mississippi River rose during one of the most devastating floods in U.S. history. Along the riverfront, you'll also come across the Captain's Return, a dramatic statue that honors the return of Lewis and Clark to St. Louis after their expedition. Just a short walk from the arch is the Eads Bridge, an engineering marvel that was completed in 1874. It was the first bridge to cross the Mississippi River to St. Louis, and it's still in use to this day. The bridge played a major role in connecting eastern and western rail lines and is considered a masterpiece of 19th century engineering. Another peaceful spot nearby is the Lewis and Clark Garden, which highlights native plants and commemorates the explorers who helped chart the American frontier. It's a great place to slow down for a few minutes and reflect on the journey that began right here in St. Louis. Right next to the Arch is the Basilica of St. Louis, King of France, more commonly known as the Old Cathedral. It's the oldest building in St. Louis and was the first Catholic cathedral west of the Mississippi. It's still an active parish today, and visitors are welcome. If it's open while you visit, it's worth stepping inside to see the beautiful statues and quiet historic interior. But one of the most significant places within the park is the Old Courthouse. This building played a major role in American civil rights history, and today it's operated by the National Park Service as a museum. Outside the building, there's a powerful statue of Dred and Harriet Scott standing hand in hand, honoring the legacy of their fight for freedom. Inside, you can step into the rotunda and look up at the massive dome that is similar to St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, which was also the inspiration for the Capitol building in DC.
More stamps.
In here, you'll also find 2 extra stamps for your National Park Passport book. So if you're collecting, don't forget to stop by.
So what's that one say?
Old Courthouse.
The Old Courthouse.
Nice.
The case of Dred and Harriet Scott are one of the most important cases in U.S. history, and it took place in this very building. In the 1840s, Dred Scott was an enslaved man who, along with his wife Harriet, filed suit for their freedom right here in this courthouse. They argued that because they had lived for several years in free territories, they should legally be free. The case made its way through the Missouri courts and eventually to the U.S. Supreme Court, which in 1857 issued one of the most infamous decisions in American history. The court ruled that African Americans, whether enslaved or free, were not U.S. citizens and therefore had no right to sue in federal court. And this decision inflamed national tensions over slavery and helped set the stage for the Civil War.
So their first trial, and they lost. So they had the second one, they decided they should be set free. So it looks like they had a third trial where they lost. They're like, Missouri has no obligation to recognize the laws of any other state. But wait, there's more. So they tried a fourth trial, where they decided that taking a slave into free territory does not free him, but only temporarily suspends his slavery. So they had a fifth trial. Not being citizens, they are not entitled to sue. Wow. It's amazing how determined they were to keep these people from being free.
That was the first courthouse.
Oh, that little one inside?
There's also the See You in Court exhibit, which takes a closer look at the legal system in 19th century America. It's interactive and includes examples of other significant cases from Missouri's legal history. Between the 2 exhibits, it's a deep and moving look at how law, race, and justice intersects in this very building. At the end of the day, we crossed over the river to Malcolm W. Martin Memorial Park in East St. Louis. It's directly across from the Gateway Arch and gives you one of the best panoramic views of the entire monument, the downtown skyline, and the Mississippi River all in one shot. There's a large platform called the Mississippi River Overlook, which is perfect for sunset photos or just taking in the view from a totally different perspective. Regardless of where you stand on whether the Arch deserves its national park status, it's absolutely worth a visit. You can easily see everything in a single day if you're short on time, but if you do have extra time, I highly recommend slowing down and walking through the gardens. The view of the Arch from different angles, especially during golden hour, are something you don't want to rush. If it's your first time here, make sure to take the tram to the top. The views were incredible and the experience itself is unlike anything else. Just make sure to book your reservations ahead of time because the tram tickets do sell out, especially on weekends or during busy travel seasons. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for joining us on our incredible adventure to Gateway Arch National Park. We would love it if you would hit the like button and subscribe if you would like to see more of our national park adventures. Before we go, we want to give a huge shout out to our channel members. Your support means the world to us, and it's because of you that we can continue creating amazing adventures like this one. And we're so grateful to have you along on our journey. If you would like to see even more of our national park adventures, make sure to check out the playlist that just popped up on the screen. Until next time.